In this lesson, we are going to talk about how to respond to argue prompts. But first, let's establish what argue prompts are. So an argue prompt asks you to make an argument. An argument consists of an opinion and an explanation why you hold that opinion, so that you can convince the other person of your opinion. So when you get an argue prompt, the mindset that you need to take is that you need to pretend that you are a lawyer in court. So as a lawyer or barrister, it is your job to argue that your client is innocent. Then you have to convince the judge or jury by providing supporting ideas. So for example, your opinion is my client is innocent. That's why you're being paid, is to argue on behalf of your client. And the reasons that you would provide to try to convince the judge or jury could be, my client was not in the country when the car was stolen. My client doesn't know how to drive, so why would my client steal a car? My client has no history of stealing cars. This would be unusual behavior for them. My client does community service every week. They're a very good person, so they wouldn't steal a car. And hopefully by providing these reasons, you are able to make an effective argument that convinces the judge or jury that your client is innocent and that they don't go to prison. So this is the same process that you want to go through when you are constructing your responses to argue prompts. So the three key ingredients for argue responses are a clear statement of your opinion, 2 or 3 reasons why you hold that opinion, and supporting facts, probably examples for each reason. Okay, so this is what you need to think about for argue responses, these 3 key ingredients. And depending on your target score, you can adapt the length of your response accordingly. So if your target score is below 120, then 2 reasons will be sufficient. However, if you're aiming for 120 and above, then I would really recommend you aim for 3 reasons in your response. That will allow you to more fully develop your ideas, use more advanced and diverse vocabulary, which will gain you points. So here's how to approach argue prompts, the step-by-step process that you should follow. So while you are planning, in that initial planning period that you are given for most questions, you want to identify the main idea of the prompt. You want to make sure you have a clear idea of what you are being asked to form an opinion about and make an argument about. Then you want to answer the question or state your opinion directly. Right from the beginning of your response, you want to make your opinion or your position absolutely clear. Then think of your 2 or 3 supporting ideas that will fill out the rest of your response. Then, while you are answering, you fill out the rest of your paragraphs. So let's look at an example. Here is an example argue prompt that you could see on the test. Education is important, so everyone should go to university after high school. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? Provide reasons for your response. Well, step number 1, identify the main idea. So what is the main idea of this passage? You may say it's education, but you can be more precise than that. In particular, it's going to university after high school. Then answer the question or state your opinion directly. Well, I disagree that everyone should go to university after high school. In another lesson, we're going to look at full examples to argue prompts, and you'll see how this statement of my opinion is going to be the first sentence that you should have in your response. Then think of your 2 or 3 supporting ideas. Some people want to pursue other interests that don't require university degrees. Some people don't know what they want to study. Some people are too stressed after high school. So in that first 30 seconds or 20 seconds that we're given to prepare our response, if I can fill out these three things: the main idea, I come up with the answer to the question, my opinion, and then I think of my 2 or 3 supporting ideas. I effectively have my outline for my response. And once I start to speak or write, I can use that outline to fill out my response, and I'll have a very clear, well-structured, logical response. So let's look at the full example using this outline. So, like I said before, I disagree that everyone should go to university after high school. That statement of my opinion will be my first sentence. Firstly, some people want to pursue careers that don't require university degrees. For example, elite athletes likely don't require a university degree in order to excel in their sport. Instead, they should spend their time training, not studying. So there's my first reason. And then I move on to my second reason. Secondly, some people don't know what they want to study. This was the case for my brother. When he went to university, he didn't know what he wanted to become, or even what he was interested in studying. He ended up studying finance, because that is what his best friend did. However, now he does not like working as a banker. If he had done an internship or perhaps several before going to university, he could have discovered what he liked and been sure to study something that would have enabled him to get a job he enjoyed. Now, if my target score is less than 120, this would be a sufficient response. I have a clear statement of my opinion and 2 clear, well-developed reasons with examples why I hold that opinion. But if my target score is 120 or higher, it would really be best if I added a third reason. Finally, I believe that many young people are too stressed and they should take time off before going to university. University life can be quite intense, and if a young person is not ready for it, it can be very difficult. I think that many people would benefit from taking a gap year after high school so that they can relax and recharge before resuming their studies. So you can see all I did while responding was take those ideas or that outline that I created in the planning phase and just expanded them with examples and elaborated on those reasons. And I ended up with a super high scoring response that's very well organized and very clear. So if you follow these steps for an argue prompt response, you will also have a well-structured, clear response that will score you a lot of points.